My dear sisters and brothers, it must be very clear to all of us that in us there are blocks. We don't understand what a block is, but it is the result of how we conclude on our experiences. When we try to be good to others and they are not, then initially we say, maybe something happened, it's all right. But if it continues, then they have a block and you also from them learn to get a block. So what do? I will also not be good to others. I will be also like them. So you see how the evil one has through them got you also to be like them. We are not able to see this. When will we be able to see it? When we remain centered on Jesus, surrendered to Him and humble, then the Holy Spirit will enlighten us about our thinking and thought patterns. We will see clearly. Then we will say, let me first do this to myself. I have been duped by them. They have made this come about in me. So let me remove this, and then I will also be able to see, yes, this is how I need to be compassionate towards them, understand them, and give them a chance. Will they learn immediately? Will they not learn? That we can pray for the grace that God may give them. That is how. Like Paul, we see in the first reading, he's saying, I want to be humble and I don't want to boast, but I've got to do what I've got to do. And for that, I don't deserve anything because that's what I'm called to do. But I will be humble so that I can be all things to everyone. So he has understood what Jesus has been telling us. He is very obedient to the Spirit so that the Spirit leads him. And I, in this context, would like to tell you about St. Peter Claver. His father was a rich farmer, lived somewhere next to Barcelona. He was the last of the 4 children. So he went to education to the Jesuits and he liked what they were teaching. He desired to be one of them. He was born in 1580. So he joined the novitiate, and after he made his vows, he was sent for philosophy to this place, Mallorca, that is an island. And there he was very glad to go because he had heard of an old brother who was extraordinary in his spirituality. He was only a doorkeeper, but he was full of God's Spirit. And the Spirit spoke through him to those students who always desired to have a word with him, who always wanted to meet him, who always wanted to see him, because spirituality exuded from all that he was, because he was steeped in Jesus. And when he came, he asked the rector for permission to meet him every day for 15 minutes in the morning before he started his studies. And he was given the permission. And they developed such a strong spiritual bond. One was only 25, the other was 75. And he encouraged him to go as a missionary to Cartagena, which is in Colombia. There he said, there are a lot of slaves coming and there's a good ground for you to work there among the slaves. And so, when he did his theology again in Barcelona, he was selected because he had written to the provincial saying, I would like to go there as a missionary. And when it came, he was sent there. He had not completed his theology. So when he went there was a kind of a doubt in him whether he should be a lay brother or should be a priest. So they sent him to do all the menial works. And when he did all those things, it became clear to him that he should become a priest. And so he was continuing with his theology, then he was brought back. He was the first priest to be ordained in Colombia or Cartagena. And so when he went there, he realized, yes, these are the people whom I should be bread to with my hands before I become bread to them with my lips. And so he began to work for the slaves. These slaves were coming from Western Africa. There were small kings there. They would take their subjects and prisoners and pack them off because they got money. And they were put in small little boats, all in the hull down, and they were inhumanly treated. There was no sanitation, no proper food. There was such a lot of stench. And those who survived were sold. Those who died, they just threw them out. This Peter Claver, when the ship came, they had to first go and meet them. He would go with the portsman, and then he would give them something to drink, eat, take care of them. Those who were sick, when they came back, he would take care of them before they were sold. He was someone who was extraordinary. The only white man who was kind to them. And so, this is how he got them ready. Every year, there were about 10,000 slaves that came there. Every year. Per month, at least 1,000. And so, they had to be taken. They were sold. Their owners treated them very badly. Now, he would baptize them and take care of them. Go, when the ships were not coming, he would look after them, look after their baptisms for the children, do up their marriages, and give them instructions. They were all very good to him. But he would also fight for their rights with the owners. But nicely, gently, he would tell them. During the other time, he would take his sack, go around to all the houses, gathering good things for those less privileged. And they would give it to him because they knew he was doing a good job. Only those whom he was kind of questioning, they were against him. But even they understood that he was doing this good job, and these slaves were like now becoming good people. When there was a pestilence there in 1650, he was one of those who got it, and his whole community was decimated. The place was also run by some pirates, and it was almost taken over, and the army made their barracks there in the church. Now when he was with this epidemic, no one took care of him. There was one slave boy who was looking after him, and he would eat all his food and not give him much to eat. And what did he say? I deserve this because I have not done enough of penance. He had done so much, but even this he accepted it. And when he died, the day he died, the whole of Cartagena, everyone came for the funeral. The whole place was flooded, and they said he is a saint. Now, when all those army people went and the place was once again restored, mainly because of one lady who used to come there to his grave and light a candle and put flowers. When they exhumed the body, they found it incorrupt like St. Francis Xavier, and it is kept in the church there. My dear sisters and brothers, what do we know from this? That God calls each one of us in His Son Jesus to be God's loving presence. And it is Jesus who is God's love. So the more we are united to Him, the more Jesus in us can love others, especially those who are not so easy to be loved. Whether they are sinners or they are misfortunate people. Whether they are like this, the slaves. Whether there are differences in people, these one keeps aside and one begins to reach out to them. Let us also allow the Lord to be in us as He is, and we in him, so that we can be all things to all people, as St. Paul said. Join your hands, close your eyes, and be united to Jesus at every breath as he comes into us, fills us from our toes right up to our head with his presence. And let us empty everything in us so that we do not allow these things, whether they are good or bad or ugly, to control our lives. Let us not be blocked inside, that his grace, his love in our thoughts, words and deeds does not flow to others, but makes us more and more in union with Jesus, his loving presence.